respect for you, Ben, and our guests from South Orange County, or Orange County, I gave you guys the floor. Can we put them both on the phone, please, Mundo? Lenny Isenburg. Hi. George Buzzetti, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, well, terrific. Now, listen, let me just explain to our listeners. We've been talking about improvements in the classroom, but we're going to take a 180 turn here because one of the things going on in the classroom also is teachers who are increasingly facing, you say maybe false charges of child abuse. So you have the floor. Lenny, you go first. What is your concern?
Well, my concern is the reason they're hitting these people after Miramonte is that it's low-hanging fruit. It's very much like the McMartin. There are some teachers that are perverts that should have been out of the classroom, but those are not the ones that they're going after. What they're using is if you're at the top of the salary scale and they get rid of you, they can hire more than 2 teachers.
Wait. Lenny, you are making the assertion here on air, if I understand you correctly, that the allegations are based on a desire by the district to cut overhead, and you really want me to believe that they're doing it disguised as sexual allegations against teachers?
I've got a database of hundreds of teachers where they've done this. In the United States, they've gotten rid of over 300,000 teachers in the last 4 years.
How many in the LDUSD, please?
They got rid of 853 teachers last year, according to Phil Healy. Only 2 went to the OAH, the Office of Administrative Hearings, and both lost. When the Innocence Project looked at people on death row, they found 258 people that were innocent, but we're supposed to believe that 853 teachers, not one, was innocent.
So you're calling it fraud in education, is that correct?
Fraud. It's the mafia. And the thing is, we didn't believe it with the Catholic Church when people were molesting kids, and we don't want to believe it with education. But you've got Deasy, who's got a phony doctorate from the University of Louisville. He gave the guy who gave him the doctorate a consulting job when he...
Lenny, I want to come back to the core point, please, because I want to make sure that I'm understanding.
Right.
You are again saying that you believe some of these teachers are being falsely accused as a way of reducing overhead because they're some of the higher paid teachers.
I not only believe it, I can prove it.
Okay.
And another thing to add to it, if they allow teachers to vest under lifetime health benefits where their age and their years of service equal 80, being hired after 1992, the district has to declare $300,000 in unfunded lifetime health benefits. They are presently underwater with $13 billion worth of unfunded health benefits.
This is humongous. I mean, this is significant. George Buzzetti, and by the way, humongous, that's a Randy Economy and Brian Hughes idea, and I want to give credit where credit is due at Cerritos Community Newspaper Group. George Buzzetti, you are now the Director of Policy for the Congress of Racial Equality of California, CORE, California. Tell me, do you agree with the things that are being said here by Lenny?
Well, I know it's true because back in about 1995, teachers started contacting me about this. And you have the audit which I sent to your office.
Yes.
From 1997 that this was going on. They basically agreed they wouldn't do it anymore. And I've been at Lenny's house in an afternoon, just sitting there in just the afternoon, and heard 5 new people call up. And David, the amazing thing to me is the stories are all the same. What happens to these people, it's all the same because nobody wants to believe them. And yet it turns out to be true because Lenny has fully documented cases. I've seen it. I've talked to a lot of these people. And it's all a part of the big giant game because there's so much money at hand, and these unfunded liabilities are a reality that they don't deal with.
Here's what I'm willing to do, George and Lenny. I will be willing to allocate more time so our listeners can go ahead and hear you speak on the subject. What we're going to do is to schedule another segment with you. I'm going to ask Vanessa to please do that so that we get you on the calendar, we get you into the studio, and we let our listeners hear your report, the audit that you've done, and then come back and see what they think about this, because let me tell you, this is so significant that it could change the entire track of how these cases are being handled in the LAUSD. This is huge.
Actually,
huge.
it's
Randy Economy, and we'll also get Ryan Hughes on top of this big fiasco.
Well, you know, we've been putting everything up.
That's it. They're investigating stuff nobody else touches. All right.
We'd really like to put it up online too, and not just talk about it.
And a response to a listener who says, "Hey, you're giving too much sympathy to the wrong person."
I'm going to get you both on the line here. Mr. Isenburg and George. We're going to try to get you guys back on next